You've seen this quote, you've heard this quote multiple times. Obsession beats talent every single time. Under a highlight reel, over a workout clip, in a caption between a testimonial and a threat. It feels like hustle culture, the kind of line that sounds true in the moment and gets forgotten by the next scroll. I want to describe two men because you already know this story even if you have never heard it told this way. The first man was always the talented one. School, sports, work, doesn't matter. People pointed at him early and said he was just built differently. He believed them. He never had to build a work ethic because the gift always covered the gap. Things came easy, so he let them stay easy. The second man was never the gifted one. Slower to pick things up, nothing came naturally, but he could not stop thinking about the thing he wanted. He practiced when no one was watching, stayed late when there was no reason to, kept going after the excitement wore off, while the talented man posted on the compliment he received in the ninth grade. You already know how this ends. The obsessed one catches the talented one and eventually passes him. This is not just a gym meme. Jesus told this story 2000 years ago, and he used the exact word we are still using. Matthew 25. Man going on a journey entrusts his wealth to three servants before he leaves. To one he gives five talents, to another two, to another one, each according to his own ability. Not equal, never claim to be equal. The first two servants go to work immediately. They put what they were given into motion, and by the time the master returns, they have doubled it. Here is the detail most men skip past. The master says the exact same sentence to both of them. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Word for word. The man who started with five and to the man who started with two. The praise was not sized to the amount, it was sized to the faithfulness. Then the third servant steps up, the one who got one talent. He didn't lose it, he didn't misuse it. He dug a hole and buried it, kept it safe, kept it exactly as he received it, and hands it back untouched. I was afraid, he says, and I went out and hid your talent in the ground. And the master does not call him unlucky or untalented or underestimated. He calls him wicked and lazy. A single talent is taken from him and given to the man who already has 10. Read that again slowly, because it is the entire foundation underneath the phrase you have been treating as a caption. The parable was never measuring how much a man started with, it was measuring what he did with it. Notice something the parable does not apologize for. Distribution was never fair by any natural measures. Five talents to one man, one to another, based on nothing the servants controlled. God does not pretend the starting line is level. He never has. But he also never measures a man by where the starting line was. He measures what happened between the starting line and the return of the master. That is the whole point. And that is why obsession closes a gap that raw ability opens and talent alone never will. Paul describes what the closing looks like from the inside. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. And then the line that should sit uncomfortably with anyone leaning on natural gift. I do not run like someone running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. No, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave. That is not a man posting on what he was born with. That is a man training like the outcome depends entirely on the training, disqualifying every excuse before it has a chance to speak. Paul was arguably the most naturally gifted man, naturally gifted, Paul was arguably the most naturally gifted mind of his generation. And he still talks about his body like an opponent he has to defeat daily. Obsession, not raw ability. That is what he is describing. Ecclesiastes adds the urgency underneath it. Whatever your hand finds to, do it with all your might. For in the realm of the dead, where you are going, there is neither working, nor planning, nor knowledge, nor wisdom. Not someday, not when you feel ready. Whatever is in front of you right now, with everything you have. Because window to work is not permanent. Now let me confront the version of obsession that rots. Because there is a way to take everything I just said and turn it into something the parable was never passing, or never praising. Obsession aimed at outworking a rival, proving doubters wrong, feeding a starving ego. That is not what the first two servants praised. Notice they were never compared to each other. The five talent man was never measured against the two talent. Each was judged against what alone he was given. That is not a small detail. It is the whole shape of the reward. Colossians makes the aim explicit. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. Obsession pointed at God, act faithfully working what you were entrusted with is what the parable calls good and faithful. Obsession pointed at your own glory, at another man's applause, or another man's envy, can look identical from the outside and still be a completely different thing in the ledger that actually counts. Let me speak to both men I described at the start, because I think you have been one of them, maybe both in different seasons. And I want you to see they are the same failure wearing two different faces. First, the man who said more than once, I'm just not built for this. I don't have what it takes. Some people are wired for it, and I'm not one of them. That is the third servant. And notice he was not condemned for having the least, he was condemned for what he did with the least. I was afraid, not I wasn't able, afraid. He buried the gift because he decided to advance that the because he decided in advance that the outcome was already capped at what he started with. So trying felt pointless. The second is the man everyone has always called gifted, built different they said, and he believed it so completely he never built anything underneath it. He coasted through the season, the job, the relationship, the faith, assuming the gift alone would keep carrying him the way it always had. And now he is watching men with less natural ability pass him because they were multiplying what they had while he was resting on what he was given. Here is the confrontation, and I am not going to soften it. Neither the size of the gift nor the absence of one is the actual issue for either of these men. Issue is the same for both of them. The daily choice to work what they have instead of either burying it in fear or resting on it in comfort. Talented and lazy loses to untalented and obsessed every single time. Not because effort is magic, but because the obsessed man is doing the only thing the parable ever actually measured, and the talented man has spent years not doing it. So let's make this practical. Your obsession is not a mood, it is not the burst of motivation you feel the night before a goal gets set. It is what you do On the Tuesday, when nobody is watching and nothing about the day is asking anything of you, Proverbs points you to the smallest possible picture of it. Go to the ant you sluggard, consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer, no ruler, yet it stores its provision in summer and gathers its food at harvest. No one is standing over the ant, no one is hyping it up. It works because working is simply what is next. That is what obsession that beats talent actually looks like from the outside. Unglamorous, uncelebrated, self-startled. And it has to be built to last, not just to spike. Luke 14. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? Session that survives counts the cost upfront, the sleep, the comfort, the ease it will actually take, so it doesn't collapse the first week, the feeling of motivation leaves. The master in Matthew 25 was gone a long time before he returned. The praise servants were faithful across that whole stretch, not just the exciting first part of it. Here's what I want you to do. Name one specific area right now where you are either burying a gift in fear or resting on a gift in comfort. Do not pick something abstract, pick the action word. And today, do one ant-sized action inside. No audience required, no motivation required going in. Do it again tomorrow without waiting to feel like doing it first. The doing produces the feeling, not the other way around. This is the whole secret hiding inside a caption you have scrolled past 100 of times. You heard 100 of times. I know what this episode is asking some of you to put down. If you have been leaning on, I'm not just talented enough, I'm asking you to put down the fear underneath that sentence. Because that is what it actually is. The parable calls it by name. And if you have been leaning on a gift everyone has already told that you have, I'm asking you to put down the comfort of assuming it will be keep being enough. Both of those are the same hole in the ground. Both of those are a talent that never got known. God is not going to ask you how much you started with. You already knew that before you did. He's going to ask you what you did with it. Not compared to the man next to you, not compared to whoever has five when you have one, but compared to what you alone were entrusted with. So do not wait to feel obsessed before you start acting like it. Go to the one thing small. Go to the one small thing today and do it again tomorrow. That is the whole race Paul was talking about. And it is the whole field and was working in. And it is the whole talent faithful servant put to use before the master ever came back. This is built not felt by the rice code. I'll see you in the next episode.